In this video, we're going to look at database connectivity through Visual Studio. We will be connecting to a SQL Server database. We'll run a script, do a couple of select statements, and show how it can be done through Visual Studio. So the first thing we need to do is make a connection to the database. So I have Visual Studio open here. Normally, when you open Visual Studio, you have Solution Explorer open. You should also, in that same area, have a tab for Server Explorer. You want to have Server Explorer open. If for some reason you don't see it there, go to the View menu and select Server Explorer, and it should appear for you. Once you're there, there is one with a couple of cylinders. Those are the symbols for a database. Right-click on Data Connections and add a connection. Microsoft SQL Server is the database management system we'll be using. The server name that we're connecting to is going to be CGT web1.tech.purdue.edu. So CGT web1.tech.purdue.edu. After that, you need to change Windows authentication to SQL Server authentication. It will not work with Windows authentication. So SQL Server authentication. This is the login and password that you were given for the class. It is not your Purdue login and password. It's the login and password that you were given for the class. So yours should be CGT456 web something something, and then the password that you were given with that. Again, for you, this should be CGT456 web number letter. It should be the login you were given for the class. Once you've entered your login and password both and you're sure that they are correct, hit that drop-down button. If you've entered them correctly, you'll see a lot of options, or you'll at least see your option. For me, I have access to all of them, so they all populate. I'm going to choose my database that I've set up. You will choose yours, so your CGT456 web number letter. Once I've done that, I can hit Test Connection, and then I can hit OK. Over here in Server Explorer, you'll see that I've got a new data connection. I can expand that and see some items that I can access there. But what we are really interested in is right-clicking on that and choosing New Query. That will load a new window in here. It's titled SQL Query. And now what we would do is go back to our instructions for what we need for this particular exercise. In here it says, in Server Explorer, open a new query window and run the script. So I'm going to do a Control-A, a Control-C to copy that. I'm going to come back to Visual Studio and a Control-V to paste it in. This line at the top is in case you've already created it. And in my case, I have already created it. So I'm going to uncomment it and highlight only that one line. In SQL Server, it will either execute everything that's on the script, or you can select something and it will only execute what is selected. So I have highlighted or selected that first line. It will only execute that first line. And I'll hit Execute. The command completed successfully. I'm going to comment out this line. And now I'm going to select nothing, and the entire script will execute. So we can see here that we've got rows affected that are scrolling. You can't really tell it's scrolling unless you look over here. So now that I've got all of that, I've created my table. I could try selecting from it. So I happen to know that one of the columns in it is title. So I'll do a select title from, and see it's helping me out there, from employees lab 4. And I'll just hit a semicolon. I'll hit execute, and down here you'll see that it listed all of these. So we've got sales rep, vice president, sales rep, sales manager. Sales rep appears a bunch of times, and something we've done in class before, you may or may not remember it, is let's say that you only want it listed once, like VP is listed one time, and sales manager and inside sales coordinator, those are listed one time, but the sales rep is listed a bunch, but you only want it listed once. In that case, we could use the keyword distinct. You'll see it changes color there. I'll hit execute again, and now I've got only one occurrence of each of those that are in there. But that's, again, what we can do there. A little refresher. If I'm writing my SQL, I could do, let's say I don't want distinct, and I can add a where clause. And this would be kind of a silly thing to do, but let's do where title equals sales manager. And execute that. And we get only that one. Let's do something different. Let's select the employee ID from employees lab 4 again, and let's get all those. So those should all be different, and there's nothing special to them, they're just numbered 1 to 9. But now that we know that they're 1 to 9, I could say select the title from employees lab 4 where employee ID is equal to 4. And that person happens to be a sales representative. So it's a little refresher on the select statement there. Again, you'll do that in Server Explorer, which is different from Solution Explorer, and you'll have this appear. Now, when you come back and use it a different time, there's a very good chance that this will show up with an X on it, and you may need to right-click on it and hit refresh. And that will, again, use your login and password that you gave it the last time and refresh the connection. Also, if you are on campus like I am right now, this will work seamlessly. If you are not on campus, meaning you are not anywhere that Purdue owns, so you're not on the Purdue network, you would have to connect your virtual private network, your VPN, before doing this. So the only way that this connection will be able to be made is if it sees you on a Purdue network. So if you're on campus, if you're in a lab, you're fine. You do not need the VPN. If you are not on campus, not on Purdue grounds, somewhere else, then you will need the VPN enabled. So there again, let's come back to here and go back. We come down, there's another different script that's here. I'm going to do Control A, Control C. And again, that was just, down here just a little ways on the same thing. I'm going to do Control A, Control V, and paste that in. I've scrolled apparently. There we go. So I've got create table statement, and I've got some insert statements. And so to refresh yourself on writing an insert statement, keywords insert into, then this is the name of the table. If we scroll up here, here's the name of the table that we created. In parentheses here, these are all of the columns that are there. So title, authors, copyright date, edition. Those are all the column headings that are in there. And then we have the keyword values. And then after that is the actual values. So in parentheses, it's a long strung out thing, but it's based on what these are. So we have all variable characters, variable length characters. So we're inserting all bar charts. Now this int has an identity property, which means we do not need to insert it. It will auto increment on its own. That's why you don't see a number right here. But all the rest are in single quotes with commas in between. So if I come back over here, so we'll go ahead and first I'm going to drop this table because I'm fairly certain it already exists in my database, and I will hit execute. Okay. And I don't remember if I had it highlighted. I'll hit execute again. There we go. Completed successfully. I'll comment out that line. I'll hit execute again. So it added 3 rows there. And now what we can do is I can just get rid of that, and now I've got another table. Let's see. So the one I just added was, let's do select authors. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing off screen. So I've got a title of, or a column name of authors from, and now I have a products lab 4 that I can choose from. And I'm just going to hit execute on that. And we can see the author for all 3 of those is the Deitel brothers. Let's change the title, or change authors to title. Execute that query. So we can see that we've got 3 different titles that appear. That should give you a pretty good introduction to what needs to take place. Again, you're looking at Server Explorer within Visual Studio. You'll find this data connections. You'll right-click, add a connection. You'll go through that again. You can rewind the video to see it again if you need to. And then I'll mention a second time, if you come back later, if you close Visual Studio, it's another day, you open it up, this may have a red X on it, and you may have to right-click and refresh it. If for some reason that doesn't work, ask yourself, am I on campus? If you're on campus, maybe delete it and start from scratch. So delete it and then right-click, add connection again. But that should take care of helping you get connected to the database.